yeah, really nice to chat to you guys today. I thought we could start first of all with talking about this ongoing increase we've had in content production since especially the start of the COVID pandemic. And I thought it would be good to get your insights really into how sustainable you think this is. Is this just a COVID phenomenon? Is this something that's kind of here to stay? So yeah, maybe Greg, if you could take us through that first.
Yeah, absolutely. So, in all honesty, I think COVID's brought on a lot of different things that will end up staying. Specifically, the production of more and more content, but not only that, but actually reaching back to back catalogs and pulling out archived content. Specifically because I think, a lot of people were at home. So what do you do at home? If you're not working, you're probably watching television, if not tending to your kids. So what's interesting there, I think the market and or, all the big OTT players definitely, I think, took an opportunity to produce more content and to get more content out there. So to be honest with you, I think that that'll continue. We're servicing a lot of platforms these days. More and more coming out, it seems, weekly.
Yeah.
Maybe not that often, but I think that we'll see this pattern continue for quite some time. Where there's money to be made, people will definitely try to make it. So, and as long as you have consumers with a desire to binge and to watch, more and more content, absolutely, we'll continue to see more and more.
I think you made an interesting point there about looking back into archives and that kind of repurposing of content. So yeah, I think Neil, it'd be good to hear your thoughts on that in particular.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of new original commissioning going on, but there are risks with that. Films or TV series appearing on the new OTT platforms and then immediately get canned because they don't get the level of consumer viewings that they expected or the ad revenue or whatever it might be. And more of a safe bet is to repurpose these long-standing series or brands or things that we've grown up with and being able to make those available from the archives. And a lot of that material, it needs to be cleaned up. Maybe there's different versions of it. You need to add new audio, translations, new subtitles, different versions for different markets. So that's where, on the media supply chain side, the pressure is coming in. We're not just delivering content for a few TV stations, but now it could be 50 or more different platforms that a single piece of content needs to be available for in lots of different versions. So it's the trickle-down effect from the consumer demand is the pressure put on the supply chain to grow and scale out.
Yeah, and I think you both actually touched on something there, which is this increase in OTT platforms that's kind of going alongside this increase in content, whether that's coming from a new source or from an archive. And I know, we can see in some markets as many as 30 different new providers now when it comes to these streaming platforms. So, yeah, I mean, Neil, what do you think about that, kind of the sustainability really of this model? And then, as you said, just to your last point about the supply chain and really where those kind of pressure points might be. And
I think it's been interesting, the last few years, there's been quite a lot of consolidation, Netflix and Amazon Prime, were sort of the first big players to be successful. And a lot of the studios started delivering their content to those services. But now that model has been kind of set and everyone knows, right, you do it in the cloud, you can scale it, you can reach a global audience. Now each individual studio or broadcaster is also saying, well, hang on, we can cater for all sorts of different markets with our own content. We can commission our own series, whether it's Sky or BBC, we can license it to different platforms. So, we're getting into more and more niche content being available across all of these different platforms. Will there be consumer fatigue? I mean, I think, personally, I'm spending more and more on all these different services. It's pretty much, new service launches, I'll sign up, give it a go. Whether that will be sustainable long-term will be an interesting one, whether we'll go back full circle again to more consolidation. But it is an interesting time. It's a great time because of the amount of content being commissioned, original content, increase in quality, delivering content. We've gone beyond HD. We're now in 4K and HDR. New TV sets are arriving all the time at better and better quality. And I think consumers will tolerate small incremental purchases as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an interesting kind of conundrum, right? Like consumers, I think, were really annoyed with having to buy particular packages from cable providers and so forth. And now you have this a la carte menu, so to speak. So I think you'll definitely find that consumers will continue to purchase these smaller things. And, on the flip side of that, I think it's a COVID lesson for a lot of the content owners and producers out there in the sense that they're finding that because folks like this a la carte style of consuming content, that they'll continue to create and produce their own platforms. They all have these crazy catalogs of content, right? Thousands and thousands upon the hours of content. And I think that they want to monetize it. And they, again, see it as a unique opportunity to be able to do so. And as long as we're the button clickers and the TV watchers, they'll continue to do it.
And I think, that trickles down into the media supply chain, where traditionally there was a lot of investment in CapEx hardware and infrastructure, and that simply doesn't scale anymore on-prem. Obviously the pandemic hasn't helped in people being locked out of the office, but those archives are on-prem, they're in tape libraries or large disk-based systems that are reaching end of life. So there's a really big drive to get as much into the cloud, migrate as many of those workflows as possible so that they can scale, they can be accessed from anywhere in the world. So you have a global team now accessing the same content in the cloud from any location, processing it in the cloud, minimizing any egress or pulling content back down on premise unless they absolutely have to. So there's a lot of refactoring of workflows, there's a lot of migration of content and metadata. Media asset management comes in at that point, and refactoring all of those workflows that have traditionally been driven by physical servers, and, large render farms and all those kind of things. So, there's that effort is really what everyone is planning for at the moment for the next few years, I think, and the pandemic is just accelerating that further.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think it sounds like a kind of enablement and enhancement almost of a streaming first approach, perhaps, as we go into the next year and beyond, really.
Absolutely, and it's interesting to see Sky, for example, release their Glass TV product, which is a 100% OTT platform with all of your on-demand services available, as a bundle. And with a subscription model as well. So you're not even having to do the upfront commitment on buying the screen. You can just pay it as a subscription. I mean, those micro payment models have been proven to be lucrative.
Absolutely. Even when you're not watching their content.
Well,
because
exactly.
the majority of people forget that they have the subscription.
Yeah.
And they continue to pay it until they, become aware, if you will, right? But nonetheless, I think people will still go back to those libraries and I think that the platforms themselves are releasing, new shows and new episodes, in a timely fashion to where people will come back.
Yeah.
So I think that'll stick around for quite some time.
I mean, whether you're in content commissioning, content production, content delivery, it's just, the demand and the need for more content is ever growing, and I don't see it stopping at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And I think it sounds like, we have the sort of tools really at our disposal, and it's just kind of getting those in the right places. So, yeah, really interesting. Yeah, so thanks very much for your time today. Really cool to talk to you.